touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans, and make sure you get everything like you want it.
Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. We are coming at you here live tonight from Charlotte for the Sigma Coke 600. It is going to be a treat, a delicacy. It is going to be an amazing race under the lights here in Charlotte. And just through the sprint qualifier, the Mini Coke 100 last night to set tonight's field, and we're full packed with cars, with tributes to Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and everyone else in between. This race here tonight should be an exciting one. Taden Berggren, your current points leader, due in part to all of his pole positions he secured this year. He gets yet another pole here tonight, but 400 laps is a daunting task at any track you go to. He starts there right alongside Tasha Wright, the defending race winner from last race at Nashville. Next row back, you've got Sebastian Torres and Jimmy Logano, followed by Brian DeBlanc and Monty Shangle. I said Nashville, I mean Kansas. We raced at Nashville in the NASCAR Cup Series, but we raced here at Kansas in the Sigma Cup Series. So there you go with Monty Shangle in the Greg Biffle tribute car. Santi Messi flying the colors of the last scheme that Kyle Busch drove in this number 53 Genesis for Jacob Shangle Racing, alongside the other Genesis there of KGA Racing's Finley Herwig. Then you have Bradley Ream alongside Tom Cording with that tribute car. Jacob Shangle and Rowdy Cannon Gage starting mid-pack here. Tyler Aspinall and Lucas Holmes, followed by Al Bunch and his teammate, or his team car there alongside of him, of Snake Plissken. Then it is Sebastian Galloway Jr. and Preston Kundo. Liz Shangle and Kara Shangle side by side. Wyatt Wilkinson and Tyler Shangle in the next row back. James Fireball Robert with Cooper Dwight. Lynn Farrell and Braden Varga with Chaz Chadwick and his teammate there. Chris Harvey in the 19 Honda Interstate Batteries tribute car. Then it is Campbell Marsh and Ewan What Army. Luis Rodriguez and Kellen Relic, John Hagan and Alex Crowther, Eli the Wolf alongside Louis Trost, Driver X of Kevin Xavier, Carson Bowers, Ryan Little and Brandon Butler II with Ralph Oberstadt, Rich Roy, and Trevor Walker rounding out your lineup here tonight. .400 laps. It's going to be a tough night of racing here. No gimmicks like the real-life NASCAR series. We don't have stage breaks here in Sigma, so it could be non-stop racing for a lot of mileage here tonight. And so here we go. It's been pretty crazy. This track has seen the largest wreck in Sigma Cup history, which just happened last race here a year ago.
Oh, yeah, I got you loud.
Yeah, that thumbnail was the big wreck from the last race here at Charlotte. We're hoping tonight to make it out of turn 4 without a big pileup just like that. Already a mechanical failure. Someone's dropping off the apron there. The blown engine for the 45 of Tyler Aspinall. Right out of the gates, and we're rolling here. He can't even make it 1 mile at the track as he blows up before they see the green flag. I apologize, folks. I've been busy at work today, so I have not caught up on my DMs or the messages over on the server. I'll try to do that after the races here tonight. I am going to try to pull a doubleheader and get through as much of the streaming action as possible here. 3 wide in the middle of turn 4. Monty clips the wall just a little bit. Hard hit there. Is going to slow his pace down a little bit. Still 3 wide for position outside your top 10. Oh, Monty gets a hard hit into the wall. That's going to be the tough breaks here tonight. We were seeing it in the qualifier last night where cars were getting into that wall, and it cost them so much time. But here we have 2 of our most recent winners in the series running up front here. 43 of Taden Berggren and the 90 of Tasha Wright. Jimmy Logano looking to try and get up to 3rd there. These cars flying around the track here tonight. It is going to be a long, grueling battle of grit, determination, maybe even a little bit of attrition. At the moment, your top 5, Taden Berggren, Tasha Wright, Sebastian Torres, Jimmy Logano, and Brian DeBlanc in the top 5. Got the patriotic schemes out here tonight, the red, the white, and the blue. Always great to see those patriotic cars running at Charlotte. It's almost guaranteed anymore. You got to have the red, white, and blue when you come to Charlotte on the car. It adds style points, and I think it adds a little bit of horsepower as well. If you ask some of the drivers, they definitely feel like the car's a bit more of a hot rod when they've got the red, white, and blue on it. Yeah, it's going to be a long night, folks. Get cozy, get some snacks, get some popcorn, get a drink. Tab out if you have to, tab back in later. We'll probably be here for the next 3 to 4 hours. And so far, out of the gate, no big wreck fest to start. We had that last year, the big wreck pictured in the thumbnail for this race. It's pretty nasty. Only 9 cars were able to drive away with it. 3 of those 9 had also gotten some lengthy damage. 36, 37 cars involved in the wreck. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that comparatively in real life. So looks like there's a battle brewing for 4th place there. Not quite, though. Jimmy Logano's going to defend, but it's single file at the front of the field. This race has a lot of history. We've raced here pretty much every year doing the full 600-mile distance with the Sigma Cup Series. Let me pull up my data here. The true 600-milers, we've had 14 of them. So tonight is officially the 15th Sigma Cup Coke 600. The inaugural race winner at this race in 2012 was John Roman, and that happened to be his only career win up until about 2023 when he finally got win number 2 at Daytona. So John Roman, back in 2012, had spanned a winless streak all the way to 2023. Quite crazy if you ask me. He retired just a couple years ago now. But you know, the DNA is in the racetrack. We've got some very long-standing veterans that have taken this race win. Some weird, you know, one-off winners as well. John Roman kind of fit the mold as a one-off winner, but he stayed in it all those years to finally come back and win his second career race in about 11 years' time. Yeah, my first video, correct, yeah. I created my account in 2006, but I didn't come around actually doing this NR2003 sim stuff until after COVID. When I saw the NASCAR series was hosting iRacing events on YouTube, that kind of got my juices flowing, and I was like, you know what, I could do that too. Albeit a little different. It's not like we have real racers on the track. These are the simulated races with the AI, the computers racing themselves, but it's still a race, and you still got people excited about seeing their car fight for the race wins, just like the 64 there of Sebastian Torres making the move here on Tasha Wright for second place. And this in its own is kind of a big what if. What if NASCAR never went back to stages, or went to the stage format like they do today? Here tonight, you'll get to see the racing in its true glory with the strategies, the fuel mileage, everything that would unfold in a 600-mile event that often we miss nowadays with the current status of NASCAR. No comp cautions, no stages. We're going to run. If there's a wreck, we'll throw a caution. But I am going to try to make this race as caution-free as possible to truly get the feel of an endurance race, to try and hopefully expedite the race a little bit, because 400 laps is going to take forever if we have a bunch of cautions to slow it down. But right now, the average race pace here tonight, if you look at the standings on NR2003, shows 195-mile average right now by the 43 car there of Taden Berggren. So if that's the case, we could be getting close to about 3 hours and change to finish in this race. But that's, of course, without cautions, without pit stops, non-stop racing all the way to the finish. Welcome aboard, folks. Getting into it here tonight. We made it through the first couple laps without a big wreck, so that is impressive. Yeah, blown engine, though, for Tyler Aspinall. That's the only thing you've missed so far if you're tuning in. Blew up before the green flag even dropped. I also want to spotlight some of the other drivers that have had history at this track. We're going to bounce around through the field here until we find him. There you have it, the 87 there of Kellen Relic. He was the race winner here in the Coke 600 back in 2013. That 87 has been dry, has not been able to hit victory lane for quite some time, but a veteran of the series. He's been in it since 2010. Kellen Relic Racing has seen success in the way of Al Bunch, as he's hired Al Bunch to race for the team. Of course, the Jaguar dominance last year, racing the Jaguar power plant. Jaguar went full electric and pulled out of the Sigma Cup Series, so they had to switch to Dodge. Another mechanical failure here, the 22 of Trevor Walker. Dead stick on the racetrack. So let's see what happened to Trevor Walker here. Like I said, could be a night of attrition here. And we're not even close to the first 100 miles of tonight's event. He pulls it to the apron. Game suggests that it's a fuel system error. So fuel failure on the 22 there of Trevor Walker may be his retirement here tonight. 2 laps down at the moment, so he still has a chance to get things fixed and maybe back and running, but he'll be multiple laps down here tonight. Yeah, so Kellen Relic has been a veteran, has been in it, won plenty of races, but it's been a dry spell. And I think for him enjoying the opportunity as a team owner to be successful with the team cars that he's hosted, but still definitely sucks as a team owner not to get the race wins that you know you can get, especially since your teammates are out there winning races. Some of the usual characters, though, that have won this race before are working their way up to the front. Jacob Schengle had won this race a handful of years ago in super fashion. Won it in 2023. He's only won it once. He's only won the Coke 600, but a 2015 champion in his own right. And we've seen quite a few of our champions win this race, so it's a good telltale on championship caliber drivers for the most part, especially the guy that won it in 2014. The brother to Jacob Schengle, the number 7 machine of Tyler Schengle, is the only driver to have won the Coke 600 twice. Won it in 2014 and then again 10 years later in 2024. It's kind of neat. The brothers went back-to-back years at the Coke 600, 2023 and 2024. Tyler's got his work cut out for him here, though, as he's deep in the field, about 30th on back. Him and Father Monty also in the back half of the field here. Monty is yet to win the Coke 600. This one has eluded him. And good mention of the 81 of Al Bunch as well, a race winner here last year, 2025. Was running the patriotic scheme to honor his grandpa, who is, I believe, still alive at nearly 100 years old, and served in a branch of the military. And that was a pretty neat one, even with the big, huge, ginormous wreck last year in this race. Al Bunch was able to survive and thrive and pull off the win in the full 400 laps of racing that night. So as we've had a pretty lengthy green flag run here, now would be a good time to check in on what the fuel window is here at Charlotte. 66 laps, so that window, we're about halfway through it right now. Ooh, lead change. The 43 gets stuck up high, and now Tasha Wright takes the top spot here. Tasha has won some pretty major events already in her early career. She won the Music Fest Grand Prix last year, fresh off of her win at Kansas last week, and also another win prior at Gateway last year as well. If you took her stretch of, say, the last 30 races, she's been doing pretty good this year, and then the last 10 races of last year, that is. Give an idea of just how successful she has been. She's up to 7th in the points after 20 races this year. Has an average finish of 17th. And has managed to secure quite a few, actually. Couple top 5s, three of them top 5s, 7 of them top 10s. But the only downside is the DNF count, which she's had 5 of. Without those DNFs, she can maybe be a little bit higher up in the point standings than even 7th. But for KBM, Cording Brothers Motorsports, they've got 3 of their 5 cars in the top 10 in points. James Fireball Robert, Tasha Wright, and my bad, not in the top 10 for all 3 of them, but KBM's Tom Cording is right on the outside in 14th at the moment. And we'll probably see a handful of drivers try to run a little bit longer than 60, but probably not much further than 66. I would wager you'd see them pretty much all pitting right about 65 or sooner than that. Well, Jimmy Logano trying to take the lead away from Tasha right here. The number 90 Cadillac leading the way. Here comes the number 60 of Jacob Shangle on the move, alongside the 43 of Tayden Berggren. So far early on here tonight, fastest lap belongs to the number 5 machine of Campbell Martian. Lead change going on right there. Jimmy Logano runs it in deep on the number 90. Tasha holds off for now, but that lap traffic seems to be holding her up, slowing her down. There was a few times that we hosted 2 races at Charlotte each year, and the other one would be significantly shorter. But the Coke 600 is been hosted 14 times, including tonight now as number 15, part of our 16th anniversary of the Sigma Cup here this year. It's kind of crazy that this is our 16th anniversary, same year just after Greg Biffle's passing. We're honoring Greg Biffle with a lot of Greg Biffle tribute decals, tribute schemes. And you'll notice on some of the cars, we also got some Kyle Busch tribute decals as well now. There you have it on the 64 here of Sebastian Torres. Gone too soon, Kyle Rowdy Busch tribute decal here. You'll notice that on many of the cars. There's Tayden. There is the 60 of Jacob Shangle. Tribute to his grandpa Roman, who passed away just in January this year. He served in military as a mechanic on airplanes, Air Force, mechanic for the airplanes, Boeing airplanes and whatnot during what would have been the Vietnam War, and also kind of a multi-tribute scheme because you got Rowdy Energy, which is no longer, it's actually defunct. You have the Greg Biffle Foundation, which was a kind of like a humane society animal donation. Foundation for saving animals and helping animals, that was hosted by Greg Biffle. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of racing to go here tonight. We're already 1/10 of the way here. Jimmy Logano looking to take the race lead. I love seeing it when people say this is the race they want to be in next year. This is the race many of these drivers are running here tonight. Looked back at last year's broadcast, and we're hoping they could be part of the Sigma Coke 600. Just to mention a couple names, I mean Sebastian Galloway Jr. in the field here tonight. If you look through the field here, Santi Messi, a Bridge to Cup driver here tonight. Finlay Herwig has climbed up the ladder to earn his spot in the Cup Series. Even Rowdy Cannon Gage getting one of his first ever big starts here in the Sigma Cup Series. Wyatt Wilkinson, an ARCA champion in his own, gets the opportunity to race amongst some of the greats here in Sigma Cup. Well, the battle between Jimmy Logano and Tosh Wright still not decided yet. She keeps defending and holding the lead over him, and here we got some more movement in the top 5. Sebastian Torres under attack by the 43 of Taden Berggren. Sebastian Torres now on the attack here with Jimmy Logano. Good run on the low side. Here he goes to try and take over second position. Man, it's a lot of ebb and flow. Whoa, 43 dive bombs, the 64 there of Torres. Not often do you see Taden Berggren getting that aggressive here. He is your points leader for a reason, but typically does not make brash, bold moves like that one there. Hey, nice reference to Tokar. I love hearing. I've kind of strived to try and reach the level of notoriety that Tokar has. I haven't reached it yet. I don't know how to reach it. They do a really good job. Their editing skills are top notch. I would need a whole team of editors alongside me to do what they do. So kind of appreciate the comment there with a reference to Tokar. That's cool. I do feel like we have come a long way. The Sigma Cup Series, the Sigma racing entity as a whole, more people are finding out, more people are tuning in. And I know that there's been a bunch of people that joined this week. Just hold tight, folks. I'm only one person doing the show here most of the time. So for those of you that have paint schemes that need done, I will make sure they are done before the next race is hosted. And so even if that means postponing a race like we did with the ARCA race, I want to make sure it's right. You'll be in that race. You'll be in the next ARCA race. You'll be in the next truck race. I just got to get to it with my full-time schedule, working and maintaining a house and growing a family. We'll get to it. And I appreciate all your support, your interest, and your excitement for the Sigma Cup Series. So I wanted to go back into detail on some of the lore, the upbringing of this event here in the Sigma Cup Series. Of course, I already mentioned our first 3 winners here at the race back in 2012, 2013, 2014. Let's keep going down the list. 2015, and this was back during a time where we allowed real-life NASCAR drivers, real-life IndyCar, Formula One, whatever it might be. Kind of like it at that point, 2015 to 2022 was the real-life racer era, is what we've come to call it. And real-life racers such as Kevin Harvick, who won it in 2015. Dale Earnhardt Jr. won it in 2016. And then, of course, 2017, the late, great Kyle Busch. We had him in this series. He ended up winning 3 races in 2017 and then 3 races in a different year where he ended up his Sigma career with 6 total wins. It's a crying shame. I mean, there could be a day where we bring back some real-life racers and maybe Brexton gets a shot racing in the Sigma Cup Series, but I'm still probably going to hold pretty firm on the no real-life racers to try and keep this this community-driven series going. So then it was a IndyCar stretch where we had 2 IndyCar drivers win it the next 2 years. '18 was Takuma Sato, won the Sigma Coke 600. Kind of neat, that same year I actually saw him win Portland Grand Prix in IndyCar, so kind of a real-life correlation there between seeing it happen in the game and also a event that I was able to witness in real life. Then 2019, it was Ryan Hunter Ray. Enter into the COVID era of the Sigma Racing Series. 2020, Liz Shangle took home the victory here in Charlotte. She makes 3 Shangles here that have won this very highly prestigious event, the Sigma Coke 600. The only 2 not yet to win here at the Sigma Coke 600 is Monty Shangle and Kara Shangle. And it's kind of crazy how there's so many Shangles that have won the Crown Jewel events. This one is one of the Crown Jewel events, obviously mimicking the real-life counterpart of the Coke 600. And then we jump to 2021, another IndyCar driver wins it, Marco Andretti. And then after that, that's kind of where the real-life racer stretch ends. We don't have any more real-life drivers allowed in the Sigma Cup field. Actually, for that matter, nor the Bridge to Cup trucks or ARCA. Might make a bit of a skew on that for the trucks, especially since we've got a Washington native making his Truck Series debut here in a month, and I would be more than stoked to include the likes of Casey Klein in the truck race for Sigma USA Trucks. So the last 4 years has been all Washington-based drivers for the most part. Justin Roman, who was born in the area of Moses Lake. Jacob Shangle and Tyler Shangle, also born in the area of Moses Lake. And Al Bunch, who is born of Othello. Washington natives have won this race 4 years in a row, the last 4. So we'll see if a Washington native can get the job done here tonight. Right now at the moment, Michigan's own Tasha Wright leads the way over Washington native Jacob Shangle. Jacob and Tyler have been going back and forth with the wins. This year, though, Tyler has not been able to secure a win. And so just shy 1 race win of the all-time record. Jacob Shangle sits behind his brother Tyler for those all-time race winner lead of the race wins leaderboard. 1 win away from tying it here. Obviously not trying to jinx anyone's night, but that 60 machine looks pretty good. So yeah, we are on our way here to green flag pit stops. The window has opened up. 62 of what should be about 66 laps on a run here. No caution. It's been non-stop green flag racing. 22's on the apron, maybe with some more fuel problems. Had the fuel problem earlier. The fuel pickup on that 22 machine just seems to be a problem. But we do have takers for pit stops here at lap 64. 42 of Brandon Butler the second, number 1 of Ewan What Army. Good question. As of right now, Jimmy Logano is credited as a rookie this year, as is Sebastian Torres, and they're both running in the top 5. Here we have a big crew of them pitting. Some folks are staying out, getting held up by the slower traffic here, it looks like. We're staying green, and we're keeping it rolling. Looks like the 16 of Monty Shangle got some right side damage. He might spend a little bit extra time on pit road for this coming pit stop to get the repairs done on the 16 machine. Brandon Butler leaving pit road already. Ewan What Army, Eli, and Carson as well on the way out from the pit stops here. Looks like the 60 of Jacob Schengle is going to come out, and he's going to beat the 90 of Tasha Wright right at the line there. Good pit stop for the 60 team. Gets him the track position he needs. Putting the number 90 right behind. And very slow rolling on the apron here, it looks like, but they're going to get up to speed down the backstretch. And we're back and rolling here with your second group coming down to pit, lap 67. They really did stretch it nearly the furthest they could. 66 laps was the window. And 67, they're on pit road. 16 looks pretty rough on the right-hand side there. So they're going to stay on pit road and get as much of that damage repaired. He's going to probably fall a lap down here. But they might have got the car fixed a little bit better. Wow, what a shakeup here after pit stops. Jacob Schengle has the race lead over Tasha Wright. But now KBM has moved their cars up a little bit further in the running. Number 95 of James Fireball Robert finds himself all the way up to third. What an impressive bounce for him. Fourth place, Jimmy Logano. Fifth place, Liz Schengle. And then it is sixth place, Brian DeBlanc. Seventh, Sebastian Galloway Jr. And how about Brandon Butler on that early pit stop? The undercut is actually gained him some track positions. Oh, the 55's hitting the wall in the background there. Santi Messi, Sebastian Torres, Finley Herwig in a top 20 run. Tom Cording. Rich Roy's laps down in 40th. And oh, another hard hit by the 52 this time. Cannon Gage running top 15. He's 14th at the moment over Wyatt Wilkinson. And Lewis Rodriguez also the tail end of the top 15. Ryan Little is laps down here. That hit against the wall does not help his case by any means. Chaz Chadwick in 16th. Al Bunch 17th. 18th is Lynn Farrell. 19th Campbell Marsh. Campbell Marsh still with the fastest lap here tonight, but mired mid-pack. Snake Plissken and the 43 of Tayden Bergeron. What a huge drop in the running order for him. Tayden was up front fighting for the race win, and here he is in 21st. Chris Harvey in 27th. Kellen Relic in 30th. Kara Schengle 33rd. 38th it is Ralph Oberstadt. The Days of Thunder tribute Rowdy Burns Exxon Cadillac there. There you have it, your race leaders at the moment. Jacob Shangle over Tasha Wright. It is kind of interesting how there's, certain courses, some horses, I'm trying to think of the term here, the terminology, certain horses for certain courses, basically, where you've got drivers that have a feel for a track. It seems like Jacob Shangle, who just won this race back in 2023, seems to have something figured out here at Charlotte. We've seen that in real life comparisons with like Kevin Harvick and his affinity for Talladega at one point in his career. And we've seen stuff like this happen in Sigma Cup Series, where you'll have drivers like Al Bunch or the likes of Jacob Shangle here, who seem to have something figured out for certain styles of tracks. Tasha Wright, her forte seems to really be the 1.5 mile tracks. For her, she's always showing up running good at the 1.5 mile racetracks like Charlotte here tonight. So a race winner at Nashville, which is just a little bit shorter than 1.5 miles, but still has that same feel, And of course, her other win at Kansas. And then Gateway, which is also kind of a short track, different tracks, different driver skills. Even like Austin Dillon right now has it figured out for Richmond. No one else seems to have it figured out quite as well as Austin Dillon when it comes to a Richmond race. I know who I'd be putting my money down on in Vegas when they go back to Richmond this year. And it's weird because Austin Dillon barely gets top 15, top 20 anywhere else, but shows up to Richmond and absolutely whoops the field. Or all those years where Hendrick Motorsports was always on the pole for the Daytona 500. That all kind of started to feel staged almost. The fact that the 24 car was on the pole more times than not when it came to the Daytona 500. And then they kind of swapped that around for winning the Daytona 500 with William Byron a couple times. So, yeah, certain horses for certain courses definitely applies even in the Sigma racing world. Tough break here for Ralph Oberstadt. Got the extra invitation after missing out on the sprint qualifier last night. A couple drivers decided to step down to let the Kyle Busch tribute cars make the show here tonight, and he's about to go a lap down. Still a lot of racing here tonight. He could maybe bounce back a little bit later, but it is going to be a long night ahead for the 3 team. I, for one, am just pleased that we're going through this first 100 miles here tonight without a wreck. No cautions. Could not ask for more. The last couple of years, this Crown Jewel event has been a wreck fest, and kind of, it takes the steam out of a race event when you have a big wreck that takes out all the contenders for the race win. So it's a welcome, very welcome, refreshing change of pace here tonight that this is not turned into a wreck fest. The drivers signed up tonight knowing that this is a 600-mile race. They knew that they needed to be there at the end to win it. Just looking back a couple of years, Eli the Wolf almost had this race won, and he got wrecked out of the lead. So some bizarre stuff does happen at the Coke 600 here. Yeah, at the moment, the highest running Bridge to Cup driver is the number 54 there of Sebastian Galloway Jr. And another tribute car here, of course. Kyle Busch made this 54 Monster Energy machine very famous by winning many races in it. have a very honorable tribute decal on the nose of the Supra here. Part of the Shangle Toyota Racing Camp. The Bundle of Joy Fund, which is run by Samantha and Kyle Busch. Keep your eyes on Galloway here tonight. A rookie in the Cup Series, but very much always in contention for some good finishes. Yeah, Eli dominated 2024. If you're looking at the website, results from last couple years, I can go back here and actually pull up more details on the 2024 Sigma Cup Coke 600. Which is weird because Eli has now struggled all year after finally securing his first ever career win. And it's like a completely different guy out there each week fighting for scraps at the back end of the field. So the Coke 600. May 24th, 2024. Eli the Wolf led 248 laps, only completed 289 of those laps. So he was on pole position, led like crazy, and wrecked horribly by the end of the night. We only had 11 cars left running in 2024. This race has been mired by some ugly, huge wrecks the last several years. Just like I said, last year, the biggest wreck in Sigma Cup history, if you look to 2025. And Al Bunch, of course, was the race winner. But there was only... oh, shoot, my bad. No, it was... when did that wreck happen? Had to have been 2024 then. No, it was 2023? I'm sorry, folks. I am skipping a beat here because I thought it was last year that the biggest wreck happened. Okay, yeah, it was last year, but we actually had a lot of damaged cars still running throughout the whole night. We still had 18 cars left running at the end of the night, most of which were all damaged, but only 6 cars remained on the lead lap at the end of the night. So, yeah, the big one did happen. I thought more of them retired than they actually did. We didn't retire them or disqualify them. We let the race run out. Kind of contrary to other Sigma races where we disqualify drivers that are running slower than the field. Yeah, no, my website, I was going to try to update the points for Bridge to Cup, but the actual website was down. So the GeoCities server was actually under maintenance or something. So let's do a through the field. I see some folks wanting to know where their drivers are running here. As we're about to hit the 1 quarter mark here. We'll be at the 1 quarter mark after we're through the field here in this update. Jacob Shangle in the 60 machine leading over Tasha Wright in second place. Then it is Third place, teammate to Tasha, Fireball Robert, who's up there in the points battle looking for some big points here tonight. Jimmy Logano in fourth. Then it is Brian DeBlank running fifth, Sebastian Galloway Jr. in sixth with Liz Shangle in seventh. Eighth place belongs to Brandon Butler the second, followed by Sebastian Torres and the number 68 of Finley Herwig. He's going to be returning to his home track next week. It is going to be Brands Hatch for the British Speed Fest. Should be an exciting week. He'll be running all 4 series at the racetrack, where it's going to be all 4 series running an event at Brands Hatch. And it's Tom Cording in 11th. So going further back here, 12th place belongs to Santi Messi. 13th place is Cannon Gage holding on, doing a solid job in one of his first ever Sigma Cup starts here. Luis Rodriguez with the Kyle Busch tribute car as well. Lynn Farrell and Al Bunch, the 81. As you can see on Al Bunch's car, honoring Kyle Busch with the number 81 stylized like the Joe Gibbs Racing 18 machine. Behind him, you've got the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson, the 18 of Chaz Chadwick, who is also doing the honor tribute number decal there. Behind him, you've got the 5 of Campbell Marsh, throwing it back to Kyle Busch's Hendrick Motorsports days before he got to Joe Gibbs. Preston Kundo running in 20th. Snake Plissken, the Outlaw, running in 21st. Tyler Shangle in 22nd. Your points leader having a rough go of it here. Taden Berggren, winner of a Crown Jewel race earlier this season. But this Crown Jewel going to come a little bit harder here tonight, all the way back in 23rd. 24th is John Hagan, 25th Lucas Holmes, 26th Cooper Dwight, and 27th Braden Varga. Bradley Ream and Chris Harvey rounding out your top 30 is Alex Crowther, as he is ahead of the 71 there of Rich Roy, the 51 of Kara Shangle, the 52 of Ryan Little, and the 29 of Lewis Trost. Kevin Xavier, Kellen Relic, Ewan What Army, Eli the Wolf, Carson Bowers, Trevor Walker, and we're back to your race leader. Yes, and we got a couple. I mean, Sebastian's going to end up doing the quad duty as well at Brands Hatch. What's interesting about the British Speed Fest next week is we're going to be running at 2 different configurations of Brands Hatch. We're going to be running at the Brands Hatch Indy, kind of the shorter, more of a kind of a roundy round track version that's basically a small segment of Brands Hatch. That will be our ARCA and Truck Series. And then Bridge to Cup and Cup will be running the full circuit, the full road course there in Brands Hatch in Britain. So it'll be another jam-packed week next week of racing. Goes right in line with correlation of Euro NASCAR and their self-acclaimed American Speed Fest, which they'll be running that week as well at Brands Hatch in real life. So we've got a couple Europeans in the server, and it's their home track, and it's going to be something special for them, just like us racing at our home tracks here in the United States. They get the opportunity here in Sigma Cup to do just the same across the pond. Well, Jacob Shangle still leading this race over Tasha, defending the advances from the number 90 Cadillac. In the background there, you got the 16 of Monty Shangle, who's gone a lap down. Damage to the right side of his car, forced forced him to stay on pit road a little bit longer and get it fixed. But it seems like the car's running all right. He's going to need a caution here tonight to get back on the lead lap. No cautions here tonight through the first quarter of the Coke 600. It's pretty wild. 150 miles, no wrecking. We'll see if we can go another 150 miles here tonight without wrecking. Things are definitely leaning towards a record pace here tonight. The drivers have learned from prior mistakes last couple years of wadding up cars. Well, we've only had attrition factor in so far. A couple cars retired due to mechanical failures. One of which, the 45 gearbox failure, retired before the green flag even dropped. So Tyler Aspinall out on lap 0 here tonight. Top 3, the Kyle Busch cars are definitely rising to the top. And then, of course, the one leading the way, the dual tribute scheme, honoring both Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle, along with Grandpa Roman there on the 60. Battle brewing here. Monty Shangle wants to get back on the lead lap. He is only 1 lap down in 38th. Desperate need of a caution here to get stacked back up at the back end of the field. Tasha looks to try and slice and dice with the lead here. Lap traffic ahead is going to be something that they're dealing with. 4th place, Jimmy Logano. 5th place, Brian DeBlanc. And 6th place, Sebastian Galloway Jr. Those 3 a little bit further off from the lead, but they could start closing in with lap traffic ahead. A lot of mechanical failures could still rear their ugly head here tonight, especially the later and the longer we go. That would be pretty wild to see another repeat winner here at the track. We got a couple drivers in the field capable of getting a repeat win here at the Coke 600. Crown Jewel races are few and far between and hard to come by, so getting the win when you can. I mean, obviously, if you don't win it here tonight, you got to wait a whole year before you get to try it again. They are still closing in on the tail end of the field here. That 16 showing some pace, even though a lap down. Don't count out the 16 of Monty Shangle. One of the few drivers to ever go 3 laps down and still win a race. Of course, that was at a short track, and you got to figure, you know, pit stops, you'd fall 3 laps down on a given sometimes. But he had actually fallen 3 laps down and earned them back the hard way. So that was a pretty wild night back at the Indianapolis Raceway Park. Just goes to show you, anything can happen. Even if you fall a lap down, there's always a chance you can get back into it. On the move here for 5th place, Sebastian Galloway Jr. looking to try and take that spot from the number 85 there of Brian DeBlanc. And of course, DeBlanc running the red, white, and blue scheme as well here tonight. This race was meant to be run a couple weeks ago on Memorial Day weekend, but here we are. Start of June, getting the race in, getting a rolling on it. Still, never a bad race, never a bad night to do patriotic paint schemes. Always, always cooler to see all the red, white, and blue out there on the racetrack. Just kind of goes hand in hand with Charlotte Motor Speedway. Well, we are now officially 1 hour into tonight's race, and that is going to be a brief pause here as we record part 1 of tonight's event. They have now caught up to the lap traffic here. Side by side for second place. That is two teammates duking it out there. 95 of Fireball Robert. Brian DeBlanc on the attack here with Jimmy Logano in the 28. 4th, 5th, and 6th all up for grabs right here. Good battle here. We've seen some nasty wrecks right there at the start-finish line over the years here. Even one so unexplainable where Dalton Scott actually blipped through the floor of the racetrack and they got sent sky high like a rocket ship. That is a glitch that is very well known on the Charlotte edition track that we have here. This 2013 version, and hopefully we don't see any drivers going to the stars here tonight. Don't want anyone flying to the moon. Jacob having a little bit of struggles here getting around lap traffic. 95 Fireball gets up to second there. Still caution free so far here tonight. As it sits right now, James Fireball Robert is second in the points to Taden Berggren. Tonight, with Taden Berggren struggling a little bit, this could be a prime night for the 95 team to start building up on that overall points lead. Looks like Sebastian on the attack again, the 28 on the high side. But with all this lap traffic, these drivers should start reeling in the race lead here shortly. '94 of Eli the Wolf struggling in the Dodge Charger here tonight. Well, it was pretty wild today here, the ARCA race in real life, the NASCAR ARCA race at Michigan, to find out that the pole setter was none other than Cletus McFarland. That's pretty neat. I won't give away any spoilers in case some folks have the race recorded to watch later, but pole position is definitely an achievement for Cletus to finally secure that first pole position. Even if it's just ARCA, it's pretty cool. Well, Eli is already fallen one lap down here, so he's going to have a long night ahead of him trying to stay just one lap down. The next round of green flag pit stops are going to be coming up here shortly, about lap 130 and on. To go 2 green flag stints, green flag pit stops is pretty wild. And all that lap traffic holding up everyone here. It looks like the 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr. is going to have an opportunity here to work through some of this traffic. He has worked his way up into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. And he's got his sights set on even higher. Good move on the 85, puts him up to 4th at the moment. You're going to see the 90 there alongside of him shortly as well. How many pit stops are going to be made? I'm going to wager probably about 6 pit stops here tonight. Easily 6 pit stops. Sebastian on the radio is saying that his car feels like a hot rod rocket ship out here tonight. That Toyota Supra brought upon by Shangle Toyota Racing, and that was a bit of a sketchy moment there as the 94 pulled off pit road. Lap traffic starting to disperse a little bit here. And he's sitting in 4th. Pit stops are going to be coming here shortly for the most of the field. That 60, though, looks tough to beat. What once was a 2-car separation now has kind of turned into a 5-car party at the front. Here we got your leaders pitting: the 60, the 95, the 90, the 28, and even the 42 just a little bit further in the background there. This right here is the danger zone. As soon as they start pitting and folks are still out there on track, the higher potential of caution could potentially force them a lap down here tonight. So they got to hope that there's no caution during the green flag cycle here. It looks like your race leaders at the moment. Cycle around to the 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr., the race leader. Getting some laps led here tonight in the 54 tribute car to Kyle Busch. '85 right behind Brian DeBlanc, also waiting to make his pit stop here. Ouch, the 85 stays out. I don't know if that's a mistake or what, but a bad move on the 85 team for slowing all the way down to pit road pace and missing pit road entry. Brian DeBlanc's going to lead a lap, but he lost about 5 seconds on the racetrack alone right there. Al Bunch is up to 2nd, but during the pit cycles here, he's yet to pit. 85 pits this time by. That is going to hand over the race lead to Al Bunch, the defending winner of the Coke 600. This in its own might be a long strategy shot, that if we go about 68 to 70 laps each time on pit stops, Al Bunch could be trying to stretch it just a little bit longer. Which he would be able to gain about 10 laps here tonight over the scheduled distance if he keeps on the calendar schedule that he's going right now. So we don't know the full scheme of things until fuel mileage starts to factor in at the end of the race. And I think that's going to cycle everyone back around. Now it's going to be a new fight at the front of the field between James Fireball Robert and the 60 of Jacob Shangle. Dealing with the lap traffic there, the 78 of Bradley Ream. Still waiting on the cycle for Al Bunch to make his pit stop here. And Jacob Shangle back to the lead in the Monty Shangle Motorsports 60 Ford Mustang there. Second place, the 95, James Fireball Robert, second in the points. Third place, Tasha Wright. Fourth place, Brandon Butler. Followed by Tom Cording, now up into the top 5. Jimmy Logano in 6th. 7th place, Sebastian Galloway Jr. 8th place, Finley Herwig. And then it is also 9th place, Liz Shangle, a race winner of this event in prior year. 10th place belongs to Wyatt Wilkinson, the rookie on the field here. Then it is Lynn Farrell, Sebastian Torres, Luis Rodriguez. Brian DeBlanc falls way back out to the bottom end of the top 15. Campbell Marsh, who still has the fastest lap here tonight in the number 5 Dodge Charger for Al Bunch Incorporated. Braden Varga trying to pick up some pieces. He's back up to 16th here. Tyler Shangle in 17th. Snake Plissken for Al Bunch Incorporated in 18th. John Hagan for Jacob Shangle Racing in 19th. Al Bunch with Kellen Relic Racing 20th. 21st and 22nd, Cooper Dwight and Cannon Gage. Followed by Alex Crowther and now Kara Shangle up into a top 25 position, making up some spots from where she's been running all night. Chris Harvey, followed by Santi Messi. Really starting to see the rookies fall off the map here a little bit. The endurance factors kicking in, and your veterans are starting to rise to the top. Preston Kundo, a rookie this season. Luce Trost, a veteran, as well as Chaz Chadwick, Lucas Holmes, Rich Roy, and Tayden Bergeron. Still a big shocker there. Your points leader struggling here tonight, all the way back in 31st. You and What Army, Eli the Wolf, Bradley Ream, and your race lead back to the top. Whoa, by golly, folks, we've got our first caution here tonight at lap 141. It has been 2 green flag segments, and we are finally under caution for the first time here this evening in the Coke 600. A rare break early on in this one slows down the race pace just a little bit. As they are going to take their pit stops here, we're going to rewind and find a replay of what happened. I already can tell you the culprit, 22 here of Trevor Walker. Oh, and that is not good, folks. Oh, that is a big, gnarly wreck. So, the 30 here, that is Tom Cording. He was up in the top 5. But at this point, the caution was already out. So what happened ahead of them to bring out the caution? The caution's waving. That was after the fact. So where was it? A debris caution? We might have had some oil down on track that forced the caution, and that's the caution came out just a hair too late as the drivers got into the oil, losing it there. Time the lights go on is right there. Wow. What a crazy moment. I have not seen something that wild. We had a lot of tore up cars for a caution that came out because of the caution. And so let's let the cameras roll here. Obviously the 30 and all the others did not whoa up in time. Just a brief pause. Let me pause the race so that I can actually give wave arounds here in a minute. Kind of a, casual spin there, nothing too big, but coming back down the racetrack, the 22 who's multiple laps down, the 39, the 3 of Ralph Oberstadt, and that it's just a roadblock at that point. They come piling in, nowhere to go, nowhere to get away from it. That is the big one. LFG Motorsports, all 3 cars piled in there at the wrong place in the wrong position. Just did not have their wits about them there and piled in there and wrecked each other. That's why you got to make it 600 miles here. It's a long night. And for some folks that may not be completely retired, their night just got a lot longer with damage on the car. Cannon Gage gets away relatively unharmed there. I feel like they just don't know where the yellow flag was. They seem to have ignored the call from the tower and made some very bad mistakes at the end of it here. So the first caution, we'll see a handful of retirements, probably a big chunk of retirements here. A lot of them, though, they're going to just rip off the fenders, the hood, the tailgate, whatever it takes to get back in this race. It's a long night. You might see another big wreck that takes out even more cars before the end of this one. So now, holding down the bottom of the field, obviously the 45 who retired before the race started here tonight. Tyler Aspinall in 43rd. Trevor Walker now in 42nd. And the number 3, Ralph Oberstadt, credited with 41st. 71's back out, 2 laps down. The 52, 2 laps down, but the accident also took the number 1 of Ewan Wood Army. The 18 is teammate of Chaz Chadwick, and their other teammate, the 19 of Chris Harvey. 67 joins his team owner, Tyler Aspinall. Alex Crowther out of the race. The 7, Tyler Schengle, the double race winner in the Coke 600, retired. We're going to go ahead and give the wave around to a couple drivers that are trapped a lap down at the moment. But also retired the 9 of Braden Varga, the 69 of Lynn Farrell, the 39 of Wyatt Wilkinson, who had a good run going, and the 30 of Tom Cording, who was in the top 5 when that wreck happened. Looks like we're going to have about 30 cars, 31 cars still in the field here tonight. Some of them a little bit rougher for the wear. And it's going to be Jacob Schengle, your race leader still. over the 95 James Fireball Robert, Brandon Butler the second, Sebastian Galloway Jr., Jimmy Logano, Finley Herwick, Tasha Wright, Liz Shangle, Sebastian Torres, and Brian DeBlanc. That's your top 10. Spin a couple more laps under caution here as things get sorted out, but we'll be back to racing here shortly. Alrighty, we are getting back and rolling here after the first caution here tonight. Pretty big one, a nasty one. We're back and rolling, and it's going to get nasty here again if they don't get lined out single file here. 3 wide for about 6th on back. We'll take them a lap or two to get sorted out here, I believe, but the racing's just about to get good. Not even halfway through the Coke 600 here tonight, and look at that. Cars are clipping the wall, getting a little bit out of control here, fighting for the top positions, and we're going to see a lot more slower cars. The cars that have damage on them are going to be hard set to make it through the rest of the night without holding up traffic here. Jacob settles back into the race lead here over. Now James Fireball Robert, the 95 machine. Sebastian Galloway Jr. works his way up to third here. And how about Al Bunch in the 81 still in the mix here? Got a little bit of damage during that caution, but no sweat. He's back up there fighting for a good position. The back end of the field, we will disqualify if they're not meeting at least 4 seconds of adequate race pace. And lap times in the 27 flat seconds. 53 is running a 31.2, so if this lap is 4 seconds off the pace, we're going to have to DQ Santi Messi here tonight in 29th place. Yeah, nowhere going. Tough break, too much damage on the 53. He is out for tonight. Heck, even Louis Trost is still running a 28.4, and he's missing half his car there. So something really wrong with the one car to be slowing that slow going. Monty Shangles climbing back up through the field, up to 19th now. Cannon Gage got a little bit of damage, but no worries. That 8 machine still going. Running strong in honor of Kyle Busch. Crazy seeing the Skittles car and the Monster car side by side. A scheme that Kyle Busch would have run simultaneously in the same season between Xfinity and the Cup Series, and they're right there, second and third. Then, of course, don't count out the M&M's car. The Carmel M&M's number 90 machine of Tasha Wright slowly reaching up to the lead here again. Well, the battle up front staying pretty tight here. A little bit of ebb and flow, side by side, back and forth. Lead hasn't changed, and your top 3 spots behind that still pretty much the same, but the battle's still brewing on. Go. Move being made for second. Is Sebastian going to be able to hold on, though? Not quite. The 95 closes the door back on him there. We'll take another opportunity to go through the field, starting with your lead here, of course, the 60 of Jacob Shangle, followed by the 95 of James Fireball Robert. Then it is the 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr., the 42 of Brandon Butler the second, and the 90 of Tasha Wright. Then is Jimmy Logano and Al Bunch rounding out your top 7. 8th place is Bradley Ream. 9th place, Brian DeBlank, and top 10 rounded out with Liz Shangle. Lucas Holmes and Campbell Marsh, but look out behind as the 16 of Monty Shangle is on a charge here. They got the car fixed, they got it right. Back on the lead lap and charging through the field. That 16 machine has the speed, has the driver behind the wheel. Could they get up there and start fighting for the race win here tonight? Caden Bergeron trying to bounce back after a very hard struggle here tonight, followed by Luis Rodriguez. Kellen Relic, Sebastian Torres can engage. Kevin Xavier, Preston Kundo, Finley Herwig, John Hagan, Eli the Wolf, Carson Bowers, Rich Roy, Cooper Dwight, and Kara Shangle still out there running. Cars are definitely a lot more tattered and worn than where they started here tonight. And there we have a battle for the lead brewing. 95 gets there right alongside the 60. Right back to the lead where we once were at the beginning of that through the field break here tonight. Like the 29 going a lap down, that is Lewis Trost. And even the 24 of Snake Plissken also going a lap down here. They're only a second off the pace, so we're not going to disqualify them. They're not as big of a rolling roadblock as the other car was. So they stay up front, stay running, they stay out of trouble. We can keep going. we've got a new second place driver, the number 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr. It is a shingle affair at the front of the field here, as you have, well, Shingle Toyota Racing in the Super right there, and Jacob Shingle with Monty Shingle Motorsports 60 machine. Slowly reaching the halfway point here tonight. So, fun fact, and I'm going to get roasted for potentially jinxing things here tonight, but I'm just calling it. This season for Sebastian Galloway Jr. has been a very unique one. He's had some shots to fight for some race wins. He's getting right there up alongside the 60 to try and take the lead here tonight, right prior to halfway. But Bridge to Cup, he's had a few shots almost to secure a victory this year. He has been winless this season, but he is currently your Bridge to Cup points leader with 0 wins. In Bridge to Cup, we have a little bit more gimmicky format, kind of like NASCAR's Cup Series does, where kind of a win and you're in situation. Well, for Sebastian Galloway Jr., no wins, and we take the top 12 or the 12 drivers with wins to make the full Cinda Cup chase here in our Bridge to Cup series. But for Sebastian Galloway Jr., he has a trump card on that. If he wins the regular season, he can make it in with 0 wins and would actually eliminate a potential 13th. Well, actually, it would be the 12th different winner. If we had 12 different winners and your regular season champion has 0 wins on the season, that would outrule the race win and you're in situation. And for Sebastian, that's his main goal right now, is obviously to win a race. But he knows if he doesn't get the race win, he can still secure a spot in the full Cinda Cup championship chase over in that Bridge to Cup series this year. And he's winless. He's never won a race in all of Sigma, whether that be ARCA, Trucks, Bridge to Cup, and of course been making a limited schedule here on the Cup side of things. But here he is, fighting for the race lead right at about the halfway point here tonight. Got to give him credit for fighting hard and enduring one of the longest races in Sigma Cup history each year we come here. 600 miles is no joke. I find it crazy that the fastest lap was set so early in this race that Campbell Marsh is still the fastest lap and no one else has been able to hold a candle to that. Your top 5 all within under a blanket here. Jacob Shingle leads, Sebastian Galloway Jr., Brandon Butler the second, Tasha Wright, and James Fireball Robert. And so the one gimmick about the full Cinda Cup championship chase there in Bridge to Cup is the champion in Bridge to Cup actually earns himself a full-time charter the following year in this Cup series right here. So for Sebastian, his goal has been all season to win Bridge to Cup so that he can be racing here full-time next year as a chartered driver. He had to make it through the sprint qualifier last night to make tonight's main event. If he were a chartered driver, he wouldn't have to worry. He would be guaranteed 42 starts next year in a Cup car. Oh yeah, another fun fact, Toyota has not yet won a race here in the Cup Series this year. Every manufacturer except for Toyota has won a race in Sigma Cup this year. We aren't counting Subaru since there's only a one-car Subaru out there, and that car can barely get top 10s, barely get top 20s. So we're not even counting that in the conversation here because Toyota is the only manufacturer with multiple cars out there that has not yet won a race. Ford's won, Chevy's won, Cadillac, Honda. Genesis. So pretty much the biggest, group of parity here with all these different manufacturers getting wins. It's pretty neat. Well, the 54 here, Sebastian Galloway Jr. definitely having a career night in the Supra for Shangle Toyota Racing. And Scuttlebutt says that maybe, just maybe, with Monster on the car here tonight, that could potentially be a segue to some more opportunities getting sponsored by them for Sebastian Galloway Jr. in the future. Sebastian goes low on the 60, side by side, going for the race lead here. Keeps taking a stab at it, but not the right move at the right time. 60 keeps driving back away. 42 coming on the inside as well. Your top 5 pretty much all within the same zip code here, and they've been putting on a good fight for the top 5. Sebastian's gonna close the door on the 42 and has a good head of steam rolling in on the 60 here. Not quite enough, but the battle is on. It is full send here for the race lead. 42 goes in there and takes it away from him. But the progressive banking factors in here. As you can see, the 54 has a great run on the high side here, but his advance is being blocked by the 60 as Jacob Shangle tries to defend the high line this time. 42 on the inside, but the 54 is going to bounce back and drive around. 3 laps to halfway here tonight. We're already reeling in the 300-mile mark here. Yeah, it's going to be about a 3-hour and 40-minute race here tonight. No joke. For us, the fortunate thing is we've only had 1 caution. That'll help significantly get this race to go a little bit quicker. I don't know how we were so lucky here tonight to only have 1 big one, rather than, you know, like previous years, we've had multiple big ones throughout the night. Kind of crazy to think that the oil down on track was what caused the big one. They could have called the caution a lot sooner, and it would have maybe saved at least 15 other cars from being retired here tonight. One thing is for certain, the 60 is beatable here tonight. Doesn't look like he's going to be the fastest car by the end of this, because the other cars behind are definitely putting on a good fight here. Lap traffic could factor in and seal the deal one way or the other. But how about Brandon Butler the second? Qualified tonight like 38th or worse, I think. That has been his MO. Has not had the qualifying, but definitely has the race pace. That 42 finds his way to the front of the field, even with terrible, absolutely no good qualifying, as it's been pretty much week in and week out that 42's had to charge all the way through the field. Can't say if it's, you know, by design. Obviously the bonus points help with the hard charger award, and he's been one to really reap the benefits of the hard charger award here this season. But he's also been able to stay out of trouble. I mean, tonight, even though he was mired in the back, that big wreck happened. He could have been in the wreck, but he was not. So been a survivor as well, more times than not, to get through the field from the very back. They're dealing with the lap traffic here. Sebastian gets stuck. He's going to fall 3 wide with the lap car on the high side here. Trying not to make contact with the 71, but he's going to lose some spots here. The 42 gets by. The 90 of Tasha looking to get by as well. Maybe even the 95 of James Fireball Robert. Some takers down pit road, it looks like. There, he gets right back in front of Tasha and behind the lap traffic there at the 71. Well, pit stops underway with your race leader, Jacob Schengle, and the 54 there of Sebastian Galloway Jr. and a handful of other drivers taking this opportunity to pit at lap 208. Tasha will stay out here and inherit the race lead with her teammate Fireball Robert right behind. Third place now belongs to Al Bunch, Monty Schengle in fourth, Lucas Holmes, Campbell Marsh, Kellen Relic, your top 7. And it's Cannon Gage in 8th, Kevin Xavier in 9th, and Preston Kundo, your top 10. As pit stops are still cycling through here, that is. And a whole bunch of them now making their pit stops. The 8 of Cannon Gage is going to stay out, but he does not get a lap lead. Leaders on pit road were able to lead the lap there. Lucas Holmes staying out, running in second at the moment. We're not quite at the 2-hour mark, but we're getting there. Cannon Gage makes his pit stop as well. Wow. On pit cycles here, Brandon Butler was able to get by the 60 of Jacob Schengle to take the top spot once these pit stops cycle through. Brandon Butler looking to be your new race leader here tonight, getting by the 60 with a good strategy call there on the pit stops. Oh, the 60 of Jacob hits the wall, slams into it just a little bit. Kind of a kiss there, but he's got a good run going, carrying that speed to try and get back around the 42 who stole the lead from him on pit transitions here. Side by side down the backstretch, the 60 loses a little bit of a grip there as the 42 closes the door. Well, we're staying green through this cycle of pit stops. There you have it, your new race leader, the 42 of Brandon Butler II. But for how long? With the rest of the cycles here, let us do a through the field sprint real quick. It might not want to do it right now. The battle up front getting good. I don't want to miss any changes in the race lead here. Look at that 60 car sticking down low on the 42. Following the leader at the moment, kind of holding suit. We got top 3 there, all within the same group there leading the race. 54 tries to make a move on the 60, but not making up as much time as he was hoping there. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and do through the field here as Brandon Butler II leads over Jacob Schengle and Sebastian Galloway Jr. In fourth, it is James Fireball Robert. Fifth place, Tasha Wright. Sixth is Jimmy Logano. Seventh place, Bradley Ream. Eighth place, Liz Shangle. Ninth place, Brian DeBlanc. 10th place, Al Bunch. Monty Shangle on the rebound here, up to 11th, fighting for that top 10 position with Mr. Bunch there. It looks like he might have a run here on the inside, making a pass to get into the top 10. Al Bunch defending at the moment on the high side. Side by side, they come rolling down the backstretch. And not sure if that is going to be a complete pass or not, but they're still battling for it right there. Next in row, you got Taden Berggren, Campbell Marsh, Kellen Relic, and Sebastian Torres. That's your top 15. Followed by 16th place, Luis Rodriguez. 17th, Lucas Holmes. Cannon Gage running in 18th, Kevin Xavier. And then it is Eli the Wolf with John Hagan, with your race leaders about to put them a lap down. Well, Jacob Shangle jumps back to the race lead as we were going through the field here. He gets around the 42 of Brandon Butler the second, and here comes Sebastian Galloway Jr. back on the attack. Whoa, they get right down to the apron there, trying to get around the lap traffic. Jacob Shangle leads this race, but here comes Sebastian Galloway Jr. sticking his nose down low, making a good charge into the turn here. 88 of John Hagan's going to hold up the race leader just a little bit. Sebastian was not able to lead the lap this time, but here he comes on the low side. Hagan holds him up. He goes way low here. Hagan dips and tries to drop back. And Jacob Shangle keeps that lead. And now, Brandon Butler the second making the move on Sebastian Galloway Jr. here for second place. Lap traffic separating them from the race leader. Well, now is about the point in time where the drivers are going to be hoping for another caution here tonight to get things stacked back up. If the first half of this race was any indication, we might not see another caution until maybe nearly lap 300 for the most part. So it's going to be a hard night for cautions to fall, it seems like. These cars are all out there fighting to try and get the win and doing it cleanly. Kara Shangle in the 51 about to go another lap down here tonight. That 51 just trying to soldier home with what she's got left. Tough break, involved in a wreck earlier here tonight. Just trying to get as many points that she can possibly get to stay within the top 30 in the point standings. Alrighty, the battle starting to brew here. Up again at the race lead, Jacob Schenkel defending on Sebastian Galloway Jr. here. Through the lap traffic and the chaos here, these two are back to the front and have a pretty good gap on third place. Brandon Butler the second. We're going to pause here briefly to save the second part of tonight's race, as we're now officially 2 hours through the broadcast here. With a little bit more lap traffic here. In the 60 creamed the wall there. Jacob Schenkel hits hard, and that's going to give the lead over to Sebastian Galloway Jr. That might have been the one mistake and not needed here tonight. Domination out of the 60 camp, leading as many laps as he has here, and he's got damage on the right-hand side. Sebastian Galloway Jr. takes over the lead. We'll have to see what kind of repairs are needed on the 60 here when the next set of green flag pit stops come. Yet again, commentators' jinx may have just kicked in over on that wreck there, that instance where the wall met the right-hand side of the car. So we'll see. Still a lot of racing left to go here tonight. What the 60 can do to bounce back. Well, apparently the damage not too bad for that 60 as he's still trying to reel back in the 54 here of Sebastian Galloway Jr. But the big problem is going to be once we make those pit stops, that car will be on pit road for an extension of time that could put him out of tonight's race. Knowing the game and the way things work on pit road, if there's enough damage, you're going to be on pit road for a long time and you might fall a lap down. So as we are slowly working our way to the 400-mile mark here tonight. 267 laps would be the 400 mileage marker here. And look at that. There's a battle starting to develop here for second place. The 90 of Tasha Wright on the move, trying to get up to second here on the 60 of Jacob Shangle. He's going to fall back as Tasha is on the rebound from falling backwards during pit cycles here tonight. All in the meanwhile, Sebastian Galloway Jr. up front leading some laps, starting to establish his name here as a contender in the Cup Series. If you look, laps counted here tonight, 145 laps led by Jacob Shangle is a stellar performance. That's hard to top. But Sebastian still has 155 laps here tonight that he could lead up front and secure lead most laps over the 60 if he's lucky and fortunate enough to keep this lead all the way to the finish. Other comeback drivers include the likes of, let's see, as we're going the 42, got to give him credit. Brandon Butler, the second from qualifying dead last at the end of the field, into the top 5 right now. Jimmy Logano's been there all night for the most part. Liz Shangle's been solid. Bradley Ream has been back and forth. He's been able to rebound with top 10. Monty Shangle in the top 10 after going a lap down at one point. Brian DeBlank's been in the mix all night. Al Bunch involved in that first caution here, but he's soldiering on with minimal damage on the 81. Taden Berggren, how about that? Another comeback driver. He fell all the way back to the 30th and on position. He's up to 12th again, starting to climb up and salvage as many points as possible. Campbell Marsh in 13th, Kellen Relic in 14th. Then it is Sebastian Torres, Lucas Holmes, Kevin Xavier, and Canny Gage. Luis Rodriguez, your top 19. But it is Sebastian Galloway Jr. leading this race. Tasha looking to take over second spot here. Jacob Schengle stuck on the high side, and that's going to open the door for the KBM Cadillac teammates there to go low. 60, though, not giving up. He's going to fight back on the outside and close the door to take back over second place here. Alrighty, Tasha looking to try and take the lead away from Sebastian Galloway Jr. possibly. She's got a good run going here in the 90 Cadillac for KBM. Right there on the back bumper. Sebastian's trying to defend at the moment. Right there again, right at the tail end of the car. It's as tight as it can be for the race lead at the moment. These two are putting on a good show. Jacob fell back to third there, under attack by the 95 of James Fireball Robert. And here comes Fireball looking for third place. We're rolling into another set of green flag pit stops here soon. These cars have got to be worn out here tonight. See if there's any other retirements. No, still everyone pretty much the same. 29 cars still running after the big one earlier here tonight. 19 cars on the lead lap is actually pretty impressive here for Charlotte, especially in the Coke 600. So. Tasha putting on a good attempt here, but not showing her hand completely, as she's just kind of, playing the, cat and mouse game here with the 54. Just get a feel for what her car could do later on here tonight. Lap traffic, that is the 29 of Lewis Tross going yet another lap down here tonight. They're going to make quick work of him. once you get past the 400-mile mark, that's when you got to start wondering whether or not you're going to see more mechanical failures here tonight. Mechanical failures have kind of been on the lighter side here today, but we still have 200 miles of racing left to go here, and a lot could happen and unfold in those final 200 miles of racing here at Charlotte. I'm impressed that the 60 is still holding on, even with how hard the wall contact was. We'll see when pit stops cycle through how far he falls out of the lead here tonight. He's going to need a caution, just like his dad Monty was able to get waved back around, back in the mix for the fight here today. But laps working against the 60 team now. If they don't get a quick caution before the green flag pit stops, it might be a hard night to rebound from. It's impressive here how many laps Sebastian is leading in the 54 Toyota Supra there. Earned his seat here tonight in the Mini Coke 100 last night. Qualified top 5 out of the sprint qualifier, where 18 cars went home yesterday, only 10 of which made the main field with your charter drivers here today. Couple provisionals were handed out. Few drivers got a call up after missing the main event to fill in for some drivers that decided it would only be fair to have all the Kyle Busch tribute cars on field here tonight for the Coke 600. And they are doing all right. We got 4 of them here in the top 5 fighting for the win, honoring Kyle Busch with those fancy tribute schemes. And a few others that are still alive and driving here, even if they're not in the top 5. Anyone could still win this race. A lot could unfold. Still to go here tonight. Alrighty, green flag pit stops are starting to factor in again here at lap 270. Honestly, this is almost the perfect window to get to the finish here tonight because it's a perfect 2-stop race at this point. $134 laps. If you pit now and go 67 the next run, fuel mileage is not going to be a scenario that we have to worry about here, since everyone should be golden to run the rest of the way here tonight with the 2-stopper. 60 of Jacob Schenkel makes his pit stop now. We'll have to see how long his pit stop takes, and maybe if they're lucky they can get a quick repair on the 60 and get it back out ASAP. But with that right side damage, guarantee it's going to take a little bit longer on pit road. The undercut helps a little bit. No caution hurts quite a bit though, as they would have needed at least a caution to make the repairs and stay in a very, very timely manner on pit road and out. There you go. You have it. He's staying on pit road. About 5, maybe 15. Lost probably about 10 to 15 seconds there. Staying on pit road for the damage repair. Not too bad. Definitely something you can rebound from. Tasha, the race leader during this transition of pit cycles. Alrighty, and Tasha comes down pit road here with 125 laps to go. She's got the second pit stall here. That helps a lot as well, being up at the front of pit road. Get in and get out as quickly as possible. A little bit longer on the pit stop though. It looks like the 95 is going to come out right alongside of her. She's able to keep him behind. Let's see where the 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr. cycles out. There he is, back to the race lead. And a demanding race lead. He's going to blow them out of the water here because of the pit cycles that seem to have helped him build a bigger gap here on Tasha and her teammate, James Fireball Roberts. Oh, and we had a caution, our second caution of the night. Sebastian Galloway Jr., the race leader. What brought out the second caution here tonight? Right at the end of the green flag cycle of pit stops too, so that was like the perfect scenario. Finley Herwig on pit road an extra lengthy long period of time there. Looks like Jacob didn't lose much more than a few spots on track there. Oh no, this is right there next to Tasha. Karashangle gets turned. Oh, and that one lasted for a while there. Bradley Ream takes Karashangle for one hell of a spin there. Hard hit the outside wall. That 51 car's night is done for. Oh wow, there's a little bit of contact there with the 95, I feel like. The slower traffic. Oh, and that sudden slide right up the apron there into the outside wall. That was violent. Yep, there is contact right here with the 95. Just a sliding glance. That grass did not do much to slow Kara's roll down as she came right back up the track into the wall. Hard hit. Tasha is going to come out of this in second still with all the pit stops done and out of the way. Man, yeah, the cautions have been very well spread out here tonight. Good stoppages, good breaks to give us a chance to kind of recover. Where is the 54 of Sebastian Galloway Jr. all of a sudden? Missing from the race lead here. Oh, did we get trapped? Did everyone get trapped a lap down in this process, or did he just make a pit stop? He makes a pit stop out of the race lead. I don't know about that one. That one's debatable whether or not it's actually a good move or not. It's going to lose him the race lead ultimately and hand it over to Tasha. But at the same time, he gets off strategy. So you never know what this could totally turn into. It could be a big move. It could be a big detriment as well. Monty Shangle all the way up to 4th, Jacob in 5th, Al Bunch in 6th, Liz Shangle 7th, Tatenberger in 8th, Campbell Marsh 9th, and Cannon Gage in the top 10. Alrighty, 120 laps left to go here tonight in the Coke 600. We're about to reach the 450 mile mark here in 20 laps time. Alrighty, we are back and rolling here. Pace car pulls off. Second caution of the evening, and it's getting good. It's getting wild. It's getting crazy. It's hard to tell who's got the car to win. 90 definitely looks fast, but now with them all stacked back up, who knows what's going to happen here. Good start by the 95. Fireball gets the lead over his teammate Tasha. They're looking to maybe go 3 wide for 3rd place. They settle into 2 wide for 3rd place. And Monty, Jacob, and Liz 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's a family affair in the top 5. Could cautions breed cautions now as we're getting back and rolling, and they're all stacked up all over the place. Trouble waiting around the corner every turn here at Charlotte. Bad restart for the 54 of what happened. He had to make another pit stop. Sebastian Galloway Jr.'s car has gone south here in a matter of the last stint of the race. Tough break. Not sure what's going on there. They must be trying to get something right on the 54. Maybe a mechanical failure that is rearing its ugly head. He's made it 280 laps and led quite a bit right there in the last half here as well. He's back out there, still on track, but now, right now, 1 lap down and 23rd. So he's going to be hoping maybe for a caution to get stacked back into this. But that car, it is not getting up to speed. He's running 52nd lap there, 44 second lap the prior one. We'll see if this lap's any quicker. I think those are just on pit road, off pit road lap times. He's going to stay out here, and lap time is going to be a 27.7, so not bad. Definitely a good lap time. But right there, 1, 2, 3. Monty Shangle up to third, Jacob Shangle in fourth. This gives us a great opportunity to pull up the stats that I was referencing earlier here tonight. The big surprise in all of the 14 Coke 600s that we've hosted is the fact that Monty Shangle has not yet won one of these things. He's had 14 starts, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, 7 top 10s, has an average finish of 14th here at Charlotte, and he's led 162 laps. Of all the winless drivers here at Charlotte, he is probably the highest touted to not win at Charlotte. Very few drivers have made 14 attempts here and not won a race. It's usually a matter of time before you get the win at the Coke 600, the big one. And 14 years of trying, 14 years of disappointment. Here he is with a good shot here tonight. The family right behind him. All of them running the Greg Biffle tribute cars. Liz Shangle in the top 5. Jacobs dominated in the 60. But the 16 has bounced back from some traumatic downside here tonight. Whoa, the 87 is a rolling roadblock. We got to get that fixed here. Yeah, he is way off the pace. Tough break for Kellen Relic, but he is going to get the disqualification here tonight for not meeting minimum race pace. We're going to wait till everyone drives around him here. We don't want to bring out a caution by disqualifying him and being a wreck. So we're going to DQ him there after they've gotten around him. That will leave us with 27 cars left running here tonight. And I kind of missed that one. I should have been paying closer attention up to the front. Lewis Trost only 2 seconds off the speed. Even that, I feel like we're going to go ahead and park Lewis Trost for tonight. He hasn't been able to make up the difference, and that car is pretty much toast at this point. One of the quippy one-liners that that my phone came up with is that the Coke 600 is a marathon, but in Sigma it's also a demolition test. I feel like that is accurate no matter what year. Even tonight, we tore up a lot of cars already, halfway through, half the field already kind of knocked out. Definitely some truth to that statement. Marathon and a demolition test. Al Bunch is the only driver to win from the pole here at the Coke 600. So that is a fascinating stat. Of course, Tyler Shangle, the only driver to win 2 Coke 600s. And never has a Coke 600 gone caution-free. We were getting there tonight. We got through the first 200 miles caution-free. But alas, it was not going to last. 13 different winners in 14 races of the Coke 600. And we have potential to see a 14th different winner here tonight, especially with your top 3. James Fireball Robert, Tasha Wright, and Monty Shangle, all of which no wins in this Coke 600. There we go. Monty Shangle going for second on Tasha Wright. They're side by side through the middle of turn 1. Now on the exit of turn 2, they're still side by side. Tasha closes the door though and keeps the 16 at bay. But Monty, showing his hand here, might have the speed to put up a fight here tonight with 103 laps left to go. It's total team control at the front of the field here tonight. KBM, Cadillac running 1, 2, and Monty Shangle Motorsports, Ford running 3, 4, and 5. You go a little bit further back, you still have some team control in Burton Money Racing's Brandon Butler II and his team owner, Tate Berggren. And that's about where the team parity ends for the most part. Al Bunch, Callan Relic Racing, Kevin Xavier, LFG Motorsports, Jimmy Logano Racing Chevrolet, Bradley Ream with Railfan Motorsports Dodge. How about Cannon Gage though, still holding on for a top 15 at the moment, running in 14th. Then you have Finley Herwig right outside in 16th there, piloting the new American Speed Fest Genesis there, 68 machine. It's got a little bit more red on it. It's definitely akin to his prior scheme with a lot of the blue, but the red's a lot more prominent on this new paint scheme that he's going to be bringing home to Brands Hatch next week. Well, 99 laps left to go here tonight. 24 is going to be catching these leaders. Another tough break for Snake Plissken. Another night of disappointment. He is going to get the DQ flag here just so that we can try to keep this race going smoothly here tonight. Meanwhile, Monty looking low on Tasha, throwing a stab at it here. Side by side, they go racing around, but that high side keeps Tasha in the right here. She keeps the second position yet again. So for Sebastian Galloway Jr. in 23rd, 1 lap down. We've kind of cleaned up house here with all the slow traffic. We've got 25 cars left running. Sebastian is gonna need a caution to get back into this race here tonight. So right now, everyone's kind of racing towards lap 340. That would open up the window for the last round of green flag pit stops here tonight, given that we don't get any more cautions, of course. But with about 33 laps to go here to that window, that would be the last big window to make your pit stop and get to the finish here tonight. Really looks like KBM did their research here today. Courting Brothers Motorsports, often, compared to Kyle Busch Motorsports because they picked that team name. Obviously, you can't pick your last name. If you're the Courting Brothers, you got the KB already. But they wanted to honor Kyle Busch since the inception of their team all the way back in 2022. They were a Kyle Busch fan through and through. And so KBM has been a staple here in the Sigma Cup Sigma Racing Series since 2022. And they did their work. They did their homework and have showed up here tonight to honor Kyle Busch with their team, with their power, and running 1-2 at the end of the night. The rest of the team didn't have as much luck here, but Tasha and Fireball definitely have what they've got here in a position to fight for the race win as the night dwindles down. Monty Shangle on the move though, trying to take the battle to Tasha here for second position. She keeps defending and holding on to it though. We got to give credit to the team. I mean, it's got to be hard to bring your A game, and especially the first race back since the passing of Kyle, to honor Kyle with those tribute cars, which we'll see more throughout the season here. This is not the only night. Maybe even for the rest of this season, you might see them honoring him with these throwback cars. So it'll be a familiar front of the field, I'm sure, seeing these KBM Kyle Busch tribute cars fighting for wins. So it's going to be, it's usually about a 67 lap window, and we should be able to make it to lap 340 to 350, which would then put that last stint at about 50 laps to go. We've got a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field as they're starting to stretch it out on Jacob in fourth. Lap car is going to hold up the 16 here just a little bit. Monty's going to get around him though, but loses a bit of an advantage here to the lead too. Lap times are definitely dropping off here. They're down to 28s, where their fastest laps were in the 27.1. .2, 28.2, and a 28.5 for Monty. Much of the field here hoping for a caution to maybe help get things stacked back up. 80 laps to go would be a bad break, though, because there's no way you can branch it with 80 laps to go. You'd have to come in twice to finish it, or stay out during the caution and try to stretch it to the next window when it opens up. The moment, though, Sebastian Galloway Jr., the lucky dog, if we get a caution here tonight in the last 79 laps. He is the only car 1 lap down, as the 41 and the 71 are 3 laps and 5 laps down, respectively. James Fireball Roberts been up front here for a good stint. He's led 43 laps tonight, nearly matching his teammate Tasha Wright at 49. Monty Shangle has led 0. He has the big goose egg in the laps led column. And Jacob Shangle's dominance has fallen by the wayside here. Even after getting the damage fixed on the number 60, he's been able to bounce back for a top 5, but it looks like it's going to be a long road ahead. 45 laps has been led by Sebastian Galloway Jr. So 40 to 49 laps is kind of the window here, it looks like, for the other drivers that have been up front leading here, not named Jacob Shangle. Alrighty, that window approaching here quickly as we're down to 71 laps left to go. Almost 100 miles left. The 500 mile mark coming here at lap 333 with 100 miles left to figure it out. It's crazy to think that we're going to be this late into the night, nearly 3 hours at this point, and still another 100 miles left. The Mini Coke 100 last night was 67 laps, so that is pretty much the same gauge here for the last push to the end. A Mini Coke 100 to decide it all. For James Fireball Robert, who sits second in the points. He is trying to look down, catching the number 43 of Taden Bergeron for that points lead. Tasha, who sits seventh in the points, fresh off of her race win last race at Kansas. She could be potentially going 2 for 2. Monty Shangle, his season has been a up and down affair. He's all the way back to 16th in the points, but with a couple race wins to his name. He ended up winning at Phoenix earlier in the year and then Iowa. So a pair of short tracks where he took home the victory. Had a second at Bristol, a third at Chicagoland, and a couple other top 10s throughout the season at Atlanta and Texas. But his bad races have been really bad, while his good races have been really good. It's hard to have a championship caliber season when it's been so back and forth with the championship, and the good races are so good and the bad races are so bad. Jacob Shangle in the 60, of course. He's 23rd in the points with a top 5 run here tonight. That could help him significantly climb back through the standings. We got 67 laps to go. The window is open for those final rounds of pit stops. A driver can make the undercut here and try to stretch it as long as possible, or hold on and wait to make it, a little bit more manageable with overtime in, the potential chance of an overtime. Alrighty, pit stop starting to happen. Saw a few folks down pit road, but your leaders continue to stay out here. This opens up that danger zone window, as folks that are pitting now could get trapped a lap down if a caution were to fall. Monty taking the undercut, coming in first. That is a bold move and potentially a good move. We'll see how it shakes out here, but coming in first, gets you out there on the fresh tires and turning faster laps sooner than the leaders are. And your leaders also join in that, leaving, oh, the 94 hits the wall hard there. 60 of Jacob Schenkel already pitted. He's in 20th. He was undercut, makes the pit stop before most of them did. We'll see how this shakes out. Another brief pause here as we record our third hour in the books here tonight. I knew this was going to be a long night, folks. I'm thankful for those that have stayed tuned in here pretty much all throughout the night. It's the only one of its kind here in the Sigma Cup Series that we run 600 miles, so we only have to, you know, weather the storm once a year here at Charlotte. And tonight's been pretty good. We've had, this is where I kind of wish I had kind of the replay, you know, like the Fox Studios or NBC or any of the race, you know, broadcast channels where we go through the action that you've missed here tonight. I don't have all those fancy tools and graphics and replays and stuff, but man, it's been a good race here tonight. We've been treated to a spectacle that only you can get through a crown jewel event such as the Coke 600, and it hasn't been a complete crap show. We haven't been wrecking and tearing up cars near as badly as years prior. This has been more mild and much more race-based rather than wreck and attrition-based. So still with 58 laps to go, there's much time for shenanigans to befall the rest of the field here. But it's been a good race. Monty's able to cycle around Tasha here, and it looks like, oh, and he hit the wall hard. But he's going to be full throttle to the floor no matter what. No more pit stops to worry about, but that outside hit to the wall could have slowed his car down a little bit. James Fireball Robert, Sebastian Galloway Jr. ahead of that in third place, but he's going to have to pit again here. So he's going to be hoping for a caution, and he does not get that caution. He has to pit with 58 laps to go. Finley Herwig stayed out and led a lap there. And it's going to cycle back around to James Fireball Robert, the race leader here. Here we go. First place, Fireball. Second place, Monty. And everyone should be good to go to the finish on the mileage that they've got in the tank. We are left with 20 cars on the lead lap. Trying to put the 68 a lap down. That would leave us with 19 cars on the lead lap side by side. The lap traffic is going to hold up the 95 here. This is exactly what Monty needs to get closed back in on the race lead, but doesn't look like it's going to slow up the 95 all that much. Monty's got a lot of ground to make up in 53 laps time here, and that 68 is going to be a helper in keeping that 95 at bay. And now sandwiched between the 68 and the 94, here comes Monty trying to close that gap. But taking the strategy call, Monty was able to get by Tasha. Tasha made a mistake on pit road, and it's dropped her back to third. Jacob Schenkel in fourth, and Brandon Butler the second, running in fifth. It's Liz Schenkel sixth, Lucas Holmes, Tayden Bergeron with the top 10, Al Bunch as well, and Campbell Marsh. Fastest lap in the race, and Marsh still holding on for a solid top 10 run. Bradley Ream, Kevin Xavier, Jimmy Logano, Preston Kundo, and a top 15 for Cannon Gage, trying to bring it home in one piece here with a solid finish to the evening. One caution for Sebastian, still not coming when he needed it. He was in a position to gain back everything he lost, but needs a caution desperately here with 50 laps left to go. $75 miles left the distance here tonight of the Coke 600. Big gap still for the 95 over the 16 of Monty. Not looking like the 16 is going to be able to close that gap as James Fireball Robert holds that lead steadily. Green flag still on the track. Caution would be a game changer here tonight. Well, let's go ahead and keep checking on the race delta here between the 16 and the 95. Fireball Robert, his last lap time was a 27.5. Monty with a 27.8. He's gaining about 0.3 a second each lap here. That 16 just struggling to find the speed at the end of the run. 27.6 for Fireball and a 27.9 for Monty. Another 0.3 lost on the racetrack here. This last run going to crap for the 16 team. No, second place would not be a bad deal. I think the entire field's going to be hoping for a caution, not numbered 95. which of course we would give the wave around to just about everyone else that's a lap down at the moment so we can get as many cars back on the lead lap. Only 20 cars on the lead lap right now. $40 laps left to go here. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. James Fireball Robert, the one in control of the race here tonight. Monty in second, followed by Tasha Wright in third, Jacob Schengle in fourth, and Brandon Butler the second, running in fifth. The likelihood of a caution coming out here very slim, as it's been very slim all night that we even had any cautions to begin with. So much green flag racing action, it's been good. And we've really let them race for it here tonight. No comp cautions, no gimmicks, just good hard racing. And for Fireball, he's gonna earn it here tonight, regardless of if we get another caution or it stays green to the finish. That 95 has been on another level here. Having led now at this point 81 laps, led most laps, tied up by Jacob Schengle with 145. But Fireball's going to come in a close second if he keeps this up. What's amazing here is the lap traffic is not actually slowing him down all that much. You would think that this is allowing the 16 to close the gap, but the 16 must have had a bad set of tires on pit road because it is just not running right. And maybe it's partially the damage from clipping the wall. We saw that too. He hit the wall pretty hard, and I think the damage maybe is factored in a little bit here. But for the 95, no damage on the 95 machine. That thing looks about as straight as it can get without, you know, making contact with anyone on track or anything, that is. But it's still a race. There's 35 laps that you could end up in the wall or wrecked here. So you can't let your guard down until the very, very end here where the checkered flag's waving in the air. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda beens here with the likes of Sebastian Galloway Jr. showing his muscle here tonight. The domination from Jacob Schengle and a few other drivers that should have been in a position where they could have finished better than where they would have finished here tonight. .32 laps remaining. Fireball has extended that lead over Monty by a grand total of 6.5 seconds. Tasha on the flip side starting to reel in Monty for second place here. Yeah, you can see the visible damage on the right-hand side of the 16 there. Monty's car not quite as happy after the damage to the right-hand side. .30 laps remaining. Of course, you're going to want to keep an eye on the leader just as much as the other battles throughout the field here, because that leader could still make a mistake, and this race could still be up in the air for someone outside of your race leader there at the moment. Here we go, Tasha trying to go for second place on Monty there. Monty's going to defend, but they're already so far back of the race lead that they're running out of time to make something happen short of a caution here tonight. James Fireball Robert, his lead extends to second place Monty Shangle by a grand total of 8.45 seconds. So almost a 9-second lead in a track where they turn 27-second laps. If we had another 50 laps, Monty Shangle could be at risk of going a lap down based on the pace they're setting here tonight. Crazy. Go Tosh on the inside of the 16 once again. Monty's going to defend on the high side and try to maintain that position over the 90. That he does. There'll be 22 laps to go this time by. Clear track ahead for Fireball Robert. Clear track behind him. Tasha makes the move. And yet again, the number 16 Monty's going to keep that position away from her. righty, 20 laps to go. It is KBM, Courting Brothers Motorsports, leading this race with Fireball Robert, who is second in the points to the 43 of Taden Berggren. James Fireball Robert has a win earlier this year, looking for race win number 2. Monty Shangle in second is defending against Tasha Wright in the 90. Here comes Jacob Shangle as well. A lot of storylines here tonight, a lot of dominance from certain drivers that have now fallen off at the wayside. But here goes Tasha Wright back up to second. She wants to make it a KBM 1-2 finish. Jacob Shangle on the rebound. These drivers desperately in need of a caution here to get back in the fight with the 95 of Fireball, who's leading this race by a grand total of over 10 seconds. Well, actually, it's starting to shrink down to 8.3 seconds now. As Tasha secures second, Monty falls back to third, and Jacob Shangle in fourth there. But 17 laps are going to go by in the blink of an eye here. .45 seconds is the gap that Tasha needs to make up to her teammate who leads the race. Clear track ahead, clear track behind still for the 95 of Fireball. And you're starting to see the degradation, the tire fall off factor in here as well, as Tasha turns a little bit quicker lap down to 8.23 seconds. 15 laps to go. She's going to have to knock off nearly a second a lap at this point to really make this interesting. Well, it's now down to 8.04 seconds as Tasha's dialing in the quick laps here to try and catch her teammate, who has a big advantage. His lap times have fallen off, though. He's getting the good out of his tires and could fall into the grasp of his teammate, who's in second. Tasha's trying to run qualifying laps, the tail end of a long green flag run here, and she keeps nailing it, too. Knocks off another 2 tenths, but not going to be enough. 13 laps to go. 2 tenths a lap is only going to put you about maybe a second short of the race lead. So lap times are going to have to drop off a lot harder here for her to catch up. .7 to her 27.5 or 28.5. 7.62 seconds is the deficit. Alrighty, 11 laps left to go. For Fireball, you know that he's just setting on cruise control to try and coast. Last year, crowned victor at the Sigma 600 at Daytona. Also a very odd race that we hosted last year that we should have one more rendition of it this year, and then it'll fall by the wayside. But for whatever reason, Fireball Robert has something figured out for these 600-mile events. He ran out of gas on the last lap at Daytona in last year's Sigma 600. Pulled down pit road and was still credited with the race win, but was docked 25 points for finishing the race on pit road, which is a no-no. 7.05 seconds. Tasha's not going to catch him quick enough here without a caution. At least she is trying to catch up, but not likely to make a difference here, as Fireball might be able to cruise to victory here without a caution. He's got 7 laps left to do it. He does have a little bit of lap traffic to mix with here, and they're dropped lap times down to 29. So that could hurt him pretty hard here if he doesn't get around lap cars quick enough. And for Tasha, she just needs to keep her foot to the bottom, throttle to the floor on that number 30, number 90 machine. Yeah, man, she only drops it down to 6.9 seconds now. Top 15 likely to be the case for Cannon Gage in the Biffle or the Busch tribute car. Yeah, my brain's getting tired. I can tell I'm mixing up my words here at this point. So 3.5 hours of hard earned racing here tonight at Charlotte. The Coke 600 is about to come to a close. Green-white checkers are in place if we need them, but hopefully we don't. .68 seconds is all the time been able to gain here for Tasha Wright to try and close in on her teammate. Four laps remaining. Fireball's got it. He's going to build up a nice points cushion to try and catch up to the 43 of Tadenberger in here today. Taden has been able to rebound for a decent finish. A top 10 in 8th at the moment. Fighting for 7th on Liz Shangle. And it's kind of cool in the iRacing events that I've been covering last 2 weeks. There's a guy that's been running a Rowdy Skittles-based paint scheme. Looks just like this one. Instead of it saying Skittles, though, it says Rowdy in place of the Skittles. And so for that, you know, to kind of carry over to the Sigma Cup Series is kind of cool to see a nearly identical paint scheme up front fighting for the race win here tonight in Charlotte. The Coke 600. He's going to see the white flag this time by, short of a caution. If there's no caution, this race is official. In the books, 600 miles of racing. All we got to do is close it out. White flag waving. One more lap to go for Fireball. Seeking race win number 2 on the season. That 95 Cadillac is fine-tuned here tonight. He's led a good portion of laps, and he's going to be able to close it out here. Coming across victorious for the first time in the Coke 600 ever is James Fireball Robert, collecting the checkered flag here tonight after the grueling 400 laps of a marathon here. Him and his teammate both bring home a 1-2 finish for Courting Brothers Motorsports. Monty Shangle settles in for a third. A good rebound, a good solid points night. Jacob dominant, but falls back to 4th here. 5th place goes to the 42 of Brandon Butler the second. 6th place, Lucas Holmes. 7th place, Liz Shangle. 8th, Taden Bergeron. Ninth place, Jimmy Logano, and a top 10 for Kevin Xavier. Driver X bringing it home with a good finish here tonight. Al Bunch, Bradley Ream, Campbell Marsh 13th, Preston Kundo 14th, and Cannon Gage getting it 15th here today in his big series debut with the Coke 600. So Fireball Robert has now won 2 600-mile events, the Sigma 600, Daytona, and now here tonight the Coke 600 at Charlotte. And we're halfway through the 2026 season at this point. 21 races in, 21 races to go. It has been an exciting season thus far, and we should be treated to just as much action to close out the season here. Well, we've made it through another 600-mile affair here tonight. Crown Jewel event. And this was the third Crown Jewel here in 2026. The first Crown Jewel, of course, was the Daytona 500. Crown Jewel number 2 was our home track Moses Lake Motorplex Sigma Super 337. And here tonight with the Coke 600. Crown Jewel number 4 coming up here in a few, well, at this point, next month right now on July 7th. The 777 Annual. This year it'll be the Kyle Busch Memorial 777 Annual. He drove the 7 truck for his last career win, so how fitting would it be in his home track of Las Vegas that we're going to be doing it as the Kyle Busch Memorial here. 777 Annual. That'll be the biggest race that we host each year. It's been a staple since 2010. The lap variations have changed a little bit. We have settled on 777 kilometers, the distance for the 777 Annual at Las Vegas. Just like tonight with James Fireball Robert having this race probably circled on his calendar, he's probably also got Las Vegas with the 777 Annual circled as a favorite as well. But for tonight, folks, that is a wrap. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting the stream. It was a long one. We made it, and we're on to the weekend now. So have a great night, folks. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. And until next time,